Hi, I'm Matt. We're at the ARB Show 2018 and I've got the privilege of talking to one of the best probably chainsaw carvers in the UK. Simon, nice to meet you.
And you.
Thank you for sitting down and having a little chat with us about your work and some of the tools obviously that you're using this weekend.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about your work then, what you're up to at the minute.
I'm flat out at the moment, so as soon as we finish the ARB Show I'm off to Germany for a week or so to take part in a massive event there. And yeah, I've got commissions coming up for all sorts of things. I'll be at Liverpool Pier Head again this year. I was carving the Beatles there last year, and this year we've got 6 figures now to do instead.
Okay.
And yeah, it should be a bit of a laugh. We've got 2 liver birds, Bill Shankly, Dixie D, Cilla Black and Ken Dodd.
Right.
So, yeah, looking forward to that. It'll be challenging.
So I mean, those particular pieces, especially doing people,
yeah.
I mean, that must take a lot of research and detail to just make them lifelike, and regardless of whether he was doing a painting or whether he was sculpting something.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of the things I found about carving the human form is you can carve an owl or a fox or whatever, and you get a little bit of there's a bit of leeway in the proportion sometimes of certain figures and things that people don't really notice that much because they don't see owls that often, they don't see foxes that often. But as soon as you get the proportions wrong with a human figure, everybody notices. It's really obvious. So it's actually one of the more challenging subjects to do. So I like a challenge.
I know one of the pieces of work that I've seen was the huge hand, which I only realised when I saw the actual scaffolding around it how big that actually is. Was that a similar thing, you know, looking at a human hand, just doing a lot of studying prior to even trying to...
Yeah, it was basically a carbon copy of my own hand. So I spent like the 2 weeks before doing that looking at my own hand, going, you know, what position?
Just staring at your hands.
Which was probably a little bit more of a challenge when I was driving. I was like, oh, what's that? Whoa!
All right, yeah.
So it was, but yeah, no, just in terms of the actual measurements, getting everything just right. I used my own hand for a scale, and I did a scale of 1 inch to 10 inch on that. So it was, yeah.
So how did you get into carving then? How was it? I know you were obviously an artist before that, but...
Yeah, I was. I mean, all of my education was centred around art. I did illustration at university, and so I got my degree in illustration. But there aren't any jobs as an illustrator as such. Okay. You've got to make a name for yourself, and I wasn't ready to start my own business at the time. Right. So I needed work, and a mate had not long started a tree surgery business. Right. So I started working for him. And really enjoyed the work, really enjoyed being outdoors, did all my courses, and just thought, oh, you know, I'll be an arborist then.
All right, okay.
And it just sort of transpired that it was one day I saw somebody carving, and I thought, oh, hang on, this looks good. I'll give it a go. And it kind of went from there. I got the bug. Couldn't put the saw down after that. It's just like every spare moment I was practicing or carving stuff, and yeah, ended up getting invited to a few international events. There was one particular international event in Sandringham at King's Lynn that I got invited to. That was the very first UK international competition. Okay. It was the English Open, and that's become quite a regular event. It's become a regular yearly event now, and there was 50 carvers from all around the world. It was a kind of baptism of fire, really. But I ended up coming third. No way. So it was just like, wow, this is amazing. But that's what gave me the confidence to start it as a business.
And to do it. And you've been running for like 10 years, something, haven't you?
Full-time for 11 years. I was 2 years part-time before that.
Right, so full-time business now. Carving tree, carving wood and...
Climbed my last tree in January '07.
Right, so you remember it well then?
Yeah.
Right, so obviously you're here with still these couple of days at the ARB Show. I'm assuming that you're using still tools, and what type of tools you use, and what's the difference between the two types of saws, or if what type of work do you do with them?
I suppose the easiest way to describe it, I use a range of chainsaws, and yes, they are all still. I signed a partnership deal with them last year,
okay.
So I've been working with them quite closely since.
Yeah.
And the best way to describe it is my range of chainsaws is like a range of paintbrushes.
Okay.
So if you've got big cuts to do, you start with the big saws, and you make those big cuts, and that's what kind of speeds up the process, if you like. You can take off huge chunks at once, and then you move down the range of saws until you get to the detail level when you get onto the smaller saws.
Right.
And yeah.
So I mean, in your workshop now, I imagine that the electric saws have come in a lot more of a some coming more to the forefront of your paintbrush tool.
Yeah, definitely. No, absolutely.
And I suppose you can lighter and easy to use throughout the day.
Yeah, much lighter. It's not even the lightness; it's the quiet. To be honest,
right,
it's much more of a sociable thing when you're in a metal shed carving away with a petrol saw. It's like the noise is rebounding off the walls. It's but since moving to the cordless range for my detail work, it's just been amazing to be able to have that quietness whilst I'm working.
Right, well, thank you, Simon, very much for the interview and for just sitting down and having a nice little chat with us, really, about your work. If anyone wants to find any more about your work and find anything about pictures and any illustration things that you've done, where can we find you?
You can find me on treecarving.co.uk. It's really nice and easy to remember. I'm quite active on social media, tree carving on Twitter, Simon O'Rourke, all one word, on Instagram, and Facebook. Just search for Simon O'Rourke and you'll find me as well.
Brilliant.
But it's been great to chat.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Click here to subscribe and click here to watch our ALLTHINGSARB playlist from 2018.